that's what's going on right now. You see all the stuff in virtual reality. What if our brains can be put in some sort of like matrix? So that would be some crazy stuff right there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of evidence out there that does kind of point to that. I mean, if you think about it, only 40 years ago, and I'm paraphrasing, I think Elon Musk here actually, but we had Pong. Our video games then were Pong. It was two little lines and a ball.
Yeah.
Now look at games. Look at how fast we've moved forward in the last 40 years. It's insane.
Well, think about
how much progress we've made.
Well, think about this. You know how when we die, they say all our electricity dies. Well, energy doesn't die.
Well, electricity doesn't die.
Exactly.
No.
But the electricity in the brain, it still goes on for a little bit after death. What if that electricity can be reverted into a computer, and then all of a sudden you're in a virtual reality, and whoa, you're living again, back from day one, bam. Is that how we're doing it right now? What if that's what we're doing?
Hey, well, Kevin, I had one guest, or not a guest, a person who wants to be a guest. His whole thing is, and Douglas, you might find this interesting. He's saying that basically we were conquered a long time ago by aliens, and they virtually took all of us and put us, in a false reality. So we were running basically in a computer program, from what I take it from what this guy has been telling me. Yeah, metrics, yes. Yeah. I mean, and he sent me a couple, emails that were real long about all the ways it could happen and how it is happening.
Well,
hey, I don't know. I mean, everybody has to have their own beliefs.
Well, it's crazy how they're trying to find this new technology for this kind of stuff. They're like, okay, we have virtual reality, but let's make it better and bigger and better. So what if they got a bunch of scientists together and be like, okay, what if we take a brain from a person that's near death, take his brain, hook up some sort of cord to it.
You mean download it?
Yeah, and download it to a computer.
Right.
And what is that word where you freeze something? What is that word?
Well, I know what you're saying.
Well, yeah, it's what happened to Walt Disney, so they claim, and that he was frozen.
His head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if we can freeze our brains, attach some type of cord to it, download it,
right?
Put it and put it to a computer, and then virtual reality.
Oh, well, maybe I think you've been watching sci-fi too much. But
I think so.
I mean,
too.
maybe eventually though they could probably download our brain. Okay, when they can, and they're getting actually to the point now they can even tell what type of dreams some people are having. So it's getting scary. But let's say maybe someday down you're 90 years old, right, and you're very rich and very important.
Bill Gates. What is he going to do? In the next few years, I bet he's working on something.
Well, download your all your thoughts, everything into a computer, and then clone a new body, and then upload all your thoughts into that new body.
Well,
that's the goal. Cryogenic until a body's built for you.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I really don't see how realistically how they can actually freeze dry a person basically, and then ever bring them back. Well, I don't see that. I do see. Kevin, I do see that eventually download a person, all their thoughts, right? Put it on a chip and then clone a new body and download all those thoughts back into a fresh body.
Well, you seen Captain... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just, if evolution is is what it is, I mean, the fact that we're moving more towards artificial intelligence and robotics and whatnot, maybe rather than cloning bodies and coming back in an organic body, it's all about putting us into robotic bodies that will actually live forever. Why even bother with flesh if you perfected this other type of body? You know what I'm saying?
Battlestar Galactica, right there, have a revived ship or something.
Yeah, or RoboCop.
Yeah,
that's an extension of evolution, if you ask me. That's where it's going. That's where we're evolving to, is these robotic bodies.
I think it's going to be a step because, I mean, they're cloning now so much. I think it'll go into the cloning, and from the cloning, I think they'll probably do. Maybe I'm wrong, but they'll take both a mixture, right, of organic and
cyborg.
Yeah, and create a life that way. Which,
And,
if we all live long enough, on this planet to do it.
Exactly. Well, in Captain America: Winter Soldier, they go back to their old World War II base, and in that base, they find one of the old scientists. He's still alive, but his brain got put into a computer. Like, they actually made a movie about that. Like,
Right.
No, hopefully it isn't a Chinese computer. It breaks down.
No, it was like a gigantic supercomputer, and then it got blown up.
Well, another thing I was thinking about, universe, parallel universes and stuff like this. How you ever think about these time travelers? Okay, maybe they're not going back in time or forward in time. They're actually going into another universe, which is a takeoff and spin-off of the universe they came from.
That's true.
Like
because different universes would progress at different speeds, like depending on what happened in their history. Like if more of Europe was killed off during the plague, Asia would have risen up instead of the West, and it just would be a whole different history. So if someone was to cross from that particular timeline to our timeline, they might be at a different place when it comes to technology and so on and so forth. That's looking like they're either from the future or from the past. So they couldn't, I can see that happening for sure.
And things like, let's say you get in a fight with your wife in the morning, right? And it's totally ruined your day, right? And you smash your car. And when then you smash your car, you end up, fracturing some bones, right? Or you're in a coma for, 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, and a time traveler comes back, and actually on another universe, it comes in, and it never happened.
Because he rewrote history.
Just from one word. It could just be one word, or two words, like, hey, you're a dipshit, I don't want to be married to you.
Or he could
and then
right.
just change all time, right there.
Butterfly effect.
Exactly.
Completely.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, the butterfly effect. What happens,
Yeah, can you imagine, like, on another universe? I mean, it could be, instead of, saluting our flag, we could be doing a, swastika flag and, the other thing. Or it could be, or Japanese, took over the world.
Just imagine if
China.
Just imagine if
Exactly.
if somebody, accidentally invents...
I won't say North Korea.
Time travel. They go back to a period of time, says the wrong thing, and then boom, everything's different. What if this time frame goes back to like the caveman times? That'd be like some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, how about like you wake up, right, and you're at work, right, and something happens, and you go, God, I remember this exact same thing happening, but you can't place it. Have you ever had that? I have had that happen numerous times in my life.
Vu?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, could I, traveled out of body to another universe and came back or something? Because there's been times where something has transpired, okay, right down to the T, and I knew this had happened before, and it's repeating itself.
Yeah, that's our brains are so funny like that, though. Too. I mean, the more we learn about the brain, the more we're not as sophisticated as we think we are. We can't trust our brains. We can't trust our memories, is what we're being told now. I mean, we can't. But we do, because that's the nature of reality, right? It's about perception.
Yeah.
But if you can't trust the machine that's taking all this in, I mean, like, what is reality then?
Yeah.
And this is the stuff that keeps me up at night.
I thought shaving would keep you up at night.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Okay.
But I got some more for you. Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
Luke, I am your father. Remember that line?
Yeah, I remember distinctly saying, Luke, I'm your father.
Vividly. He doesn't actually say that at all. Doesn't even say Luke. He says, no, I am your father.
Well, it's better than I'm
That's
your
the
mother.
line.
No, you know what? Is it just because, it gets circulated around that somebody changed it? But I mean, it's funny. I remember watching Star Wars, and I remember him saying that. Luke,
Right?
I'm your father. And
Are we fooling ourselves? Yeah.
Well, there was two.
Or C-3PO.
Well, there was
C-3PO, he's all gold.
Well, there's
right?
two versions of the Star Wars episode. What, 6 is it, or is it episode 5, or Empire Strikes Back?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. Well, there's a couple versions of the Return of the Jedi. There's the one that was made in 1981, and then there was the revised version, and then there was one more version in 2000, I think 4, because there was the Star Wars Episode 3, and then they switched up the characters at the end, like the holographic characters at the end.
Oh, right, yeah, Jabba and whatnot. And then they had the stuff they cut out of the original.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember, okay, as they were not in good mood with each other. Him saying that I am your father.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I remember because I love that actor's, his voice that they used.
Yeah, James Earl.
Yeah,
Jones.
yeah, he just has that voice that just gives you goosebumps.
Oh, yeah.
And, I remember him just saying it, and it just like, wow,
distinctly.
No,
but he actually never said that in this timeline. And the same thing with C-3PO. We remember him as gold, right? He's a gold robot.
Yeah.
He's entirely gold. Well, he's not. One of his legs, is actually silver. Part of his leg, like from his knee down to his foot, I believe, is actually silver. I'm pretty sure I had the toys growing up, and it was entirely gold.
Yeah.
But Google it. Look at images. I'm telling you, it's bizarre. And, and that could be just the thing. Like, our mind's telling us, no, his entire body's gold. Because, you typically see his head and his upper torso. So you would expect him to be entirely gold. So maybe it's always been there and we just never picked up on it. But now that we're noticing it, we're going, wait a minute, something's going on here. I don't know who to trust here.
I'm just wondering, is it possible we could have, slipped into another timeline or another universe? I mean, kind of like somehow, swapped, swapped?
Yeah, that's what people say. Even the Ford logo. People are freaking out about the Ford logo because now they're noticing on the F, the second line across the F, there's a little swirl on the end of it. Some people actually think, they came up with a new logo. They sexed it up a little bit. No, that's always been there. The second line across the F has a little swirl on the end.
I never noticed that.
Exactly. It's like a little serif. That was always there. And again, maybe just reading it, we read it quick. Our minds don't pick that up. Or maybe it is new, but if you Google it and you go back, it's always been there.
That is really strange. I mean, you're giving me a lot of things to think about because it's something like the peanut butter one. I remember that so strong.
There are so many more that are really like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Theme song, he's putting on his shoes. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, right? He sings that. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. He never said that. It's not. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. That's what he's saying in this timeline. This, not the.
I remember the word the. I have had 8 kids, and
right?
And I hate to say it, a lot of them watched Mr. Rogers. They grew out of it, And I remember I had to watch it with them, and I never heard him say that. I mean, it was in the neighborhood.
Watch it now; it'll blow your mind. Captain Crunch cereal, Captain Crunch. It's been around forever. It's been around, talk about 40 years. Well, it's not actually Captain Crunch. It's Cap'n Crunch, CAP' Crunch. But most people remember it as Captain Crunch.
Yeah, well, I
but
sure
if you look
do.
at the box, it actually says Cap'n Crunch, not Captain Crunch. Same thing with Fruit Loops. People remember Fruit, Fruit, Loops, Loops, and the O's are the little cereal O's.
Right,
But
right.
it's actually spelled It's actually spelled in this timeline, anyways. Fruit Loops, F-R-O-O-T, Loops, L-O-O-P-S.
Now,
no one remembers the fruit being spelled with
I
the O-O.
I actually thought they